Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again. Welcome spring if you're in the northern hemisphere. It's finally here. I can't say that in the southwestern Pennsylvania area it always knows it's spring, but we have more days that are less winter-like than not. Now that it's past Easter, and Easter was so late this year, I feel safe in saying that. I don't think I'm jinxing us if I say that. So I have a couple things to update you on. That's why I'm back already. My name's Renee, by the way. Thank you for joining me. I'm in southwestern PA, and I have a cup of tea that I just made. I might have mentioned this before, but one of my favorite teas is the Trader Joe's spiced chai tea bags. It's so good. It's one of the best chai tea bags that I've tried. So I hope you're joining me, either drinking something that feels good to you, or you're knitting or doing some kind of crafting, as I do when I'm watching videos. So I looked on the calendar and I tracked back to when I made my first video, and it was about a year ago. It was around the end of March. I was a brand new knitter then, and a lot has happened in a year. I had just taken some knitting lessons. I showed up at my knitting lessons with the wonderful Carol, who was the teacher, with straight knitting needles. I talk about this, I think, in my first video, that I didn't know that there was anything else. That's the last time I took knitting lessons was, I don't know, 15 years prior, 10 years prior, I don't know. I still had the straight knitting needles. She didn't say a thing. We just practiced knitting stitch, purling stitch. And then when I went there, one of the times it was during like a knitting circle that she holds, and everyone had circular needles. And I was asking about them and thought there was just a certain project they were making that required the circular needles. I had no idea until Carol explained it to me, that even if maybe you're flat knitting, that most people now are using circular needles for a variety of reasons. And I can see why now. They're just handy to have, especially with the notion of having a cable and interchangeable needle tips. And most patterns are done in the round, I suppose, nowadays. But anyway, yeah, it's been about a year. In celebration of that, and also because it leads into something that I'm interested in doing, I'm wearing my first garment that I made. I think I made a scarf first, then I made this vest. This is the Ashley Lillis vest. Let me double check this. And it's called Open Trails. Let me double check the name. Open Trails vest, worsted. I used wool ease. I have no idea why I chose this, not chocolate brown even, but really muddy brown. I'll just stand up a little bit and show you. Balance on my moving chair. But so this, I think I did the second size. And I love this vest. It's bottom up. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know this was different or preferable, not preferable. I had no idea what I was doing. I certainly didn't know what I was doing when I got up here and we were making these things, going in, doing something different than just doing this. I had no idea. But this fits me like a dream. I love it. I don't wear it because you can't see it really here, but it's really, I don't want to say messed up, but you know, chunkiness going on, trying to pick up stitches. I had no idea what she was talking about. Even though there's a full video, it still wasn't making sense to me. And same thing, you can't see it from here, but really not smooth in the pickup. But I love the way this fits me, and I especially love that it's a tight neckline. It's a really nice tight crew neckline that you can wear with a t-shirt or a collared shirt, and that it's a wide enough, not too wide shoulder area, which is the thing that I ran into making the Petite knit slipover vest. So that's why I began to think about this vest again, even though I don't wear it. It's simply because if you saw me in real life, you would see these things. And not that I'm not proud of my first object. I should just wear it, especially to a knit night or something. But sadly, I hadn't. But I am interested in making this again now that I've made the Petite knit slipover, Stockholm slipover, sorry. And I don't like it. I will put a photo up here of what it looked like. I found that this was too wide, and since it was my first Petite knit pattern, I probably made a size too large, even though it corresponded with my bust size and the ease or whatever. I don't think I would make it that size again. What I was looking for is something to hit me right here so that the seams of the shirt, the shoulder and sleeve seams, this is coming in a little more than that. That's exactly what I want. And even though I loved the writing of the pattern, I loved the way the Petite knit gives you directions, and she has the videos that you can watch to see how to bring these two things together. This is a different construction because it's bottom up. But still, I loved the experience. It's the only Petite knit I've done so far. Let's talk about the yarn that I used. I guess I'm just jumping right into what I'm doing right now. I do have a finished object that I'll talk about. But anyway, so I bought in August of last year, I attended the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Festival. I'm not sure what the proper name is, so I'll put it here. And I was really excited, and I looked at all of the hand-dyed yarns companies that were there. It was very beautiful. It was very overwhelming. Then I went to the Yarn Birds truck. I think it's Carol who owns Yarn Birds, and she has this beautifully decorated van, or like a camper, a big camper van. And in there were all kinds of brands. She carries Magpie Fibers, Les Garçons. I was able to feel alpaca fluff for the first time. La Bien-Aimée, things I'd heard about on Knitting Podcast. And she also carried Walcot yarns. This yarn is called, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. I'll put the name here. It's a worsted weight. It's absolutely beautiful worsted weight. Forget the name of the colorway, so I'll list it below. And I had the vest pattern, I think, on my phone, and I knew I needed at least over 2 skeins for that pattern. So this is the first time I had bought yarn that wasn't wool ease, although I might have made by then, I might have bought some Purl Soho yarn when they were having a 25% off sale just to try it out. But this was definitely like, all right, I'm buying 3 skeins of this yarn. And off I went making the vest. It was a lovely knitting experience with this yarn. However, I knew I was going to frog the vest because I wasn't wearing it, and I was very nervous about washing the yarn to get the squigglies out, or at least to get a lot of the squigglies out so it would relax a little bit, because I had tried doing that once with the scarf that I made because it was Malabrigo Rios, and I just wasn't wearing this long rectangle scarf. So I wanted to frog the yarn, repurpose it, and the way that I did that, I put the yarn in a big oval, like wrapping it around my arm, and then I tied it, I thought enough times. I put it in a bowl, a big bowl of water, which is what I usually do to block items that I make. And when I pulled it out, I didn't understand how to be careful about it. So it got tangled. And as it dried, I could not untangle some of it. So I did rescue some of it, but some of it was so tangled, I could never get it untangled. I really didn't want that to happen with this yarn. It's very special to me. So I looked at some videos and I carefully did some of the things I saw in those videos, which I'll show you if I put up some photos here. The first thing I did, instead of putting something, so I knew this yarn would not all be in one piece because there were 2 skeins I used and then bits and pieces for the ribbing. And so I knew a big chunk of it would be the 2 skeins. And so when I got those wound up from frogging, I tied them off. Oh, I did it on a chair back. That's the one thing I saw in the video, is I used a back of a chair and I wound the yarn. I tied it while it was still on the back of the chair, had the big oval, had 2 ovals, and then I had smaller ovals for the binding. I did it in 2 across a couple days. I took the 2 biggest ones, I put them in a bathtub so that they were laying flat, put them in carefully, pretty shallow water, let them do their thing. I carefully lifted up the oval, squeezed, so I wasn't doing anything or very much with the yarn, and I put it over a hanger, which I think I have a photo of, and left it in my bathroom. This is what I saw on the videos I watched, and there you go. That's what it was. There was some tangling, not in the larger ones, but in the smaller ones, but I was able to get it out and all was fine. Oh, I was so happy about that. So I'm starting another Open Trails vest. I'm gonna make the same size. I'm doing it bottom up. This seems so weird to me now. I'm starting with the ribbing and it's so big. But I'll try this on over my head when I get to a certain point. But the other thing that I really liked about this pattern that I'm remembering now that I have it in front of me is the amount of ribbing at the bottom. So this didn't have a lot of positive ease. I think it has decreases. And then you're starting off by doing 3 inches of ribbing. Now, I don't know if this is actually 3 inches because it looks smaller than 3 inches. But anyway, I am doing this amount of ribbing. Whatever that is, I'm going to measure it. I don't really have to worry about the item changing size very much because this wool has been blocked in the sweater itself and now again as it was washed. So I don't expect it's going to do anything other than it might relax a little bit in the ribbing, but I'm so excited about this. I cannot tell you how excited I am that I actually successfully repurposed this yarn. It got a lot of the squiggles out. I was very concerned that that wouldn't happen. So yay, yay. All right, then I'm going to save my finished object for the last bit of what I'm talking about because it's not a garment. And I might have mentioned, okay, speaking of frogging, I think in the last video, I was making a Seashore Stroll tee. I think I'm getting that right. I'm gonna put it here. And this is by, with the designer's name here because I'm forgetting and I don't have it on my Ravelry anymore because I frogged it. I was using Pasquale Merino Baby. I love that yarn. It's so soft. It's a fingering weight. I just didn't like that yarn in that pattern. It's textured, and I really liked that about it. I just think that it's a very slippery, soft yarn, and the only kind of fingering weight garment project I've ever done has been either in Purl Soho Santolina, which I'll talk about in a second, and Barocco Remix, which has a lot of grip to it. Santolina is, it's an interesting yarn. It's a plant-based yarn, and it isn't as grippy as Remix, which is a mix of all kinds of ingredients, but it has cotton, flax, linen, cotton, linen, hemp, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I bought it when I was a beginner last year. I tried to make a t-shirt. I talked about this in my last video. I still have that yarn. It's in a teal color. It's beautiful. So using the merino fingering weight was just, I was not enjoying it at all. So I want to make the t-shirt, but just not in that yarn. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that yarn, unfortunately. So I wanted to give an update on my test knit, which is Rebecca Clow, the Crayabea, her Staffin vest, but in a DK weight. So she has test knits going for the Staffin vest DK and the Staffin vest fingering weight, and also the sweater. Here is the vest DK. Let me turn it around. I am using Drops Daisy, which I think is a close comparison to Sandiscar and Double Sunday. Let me know. It's a merino, and I love it. It's so soft. I can be very sensitive to prickling in wool, and so that's why I'm loving this Drops Daisy, and it's very affordable. I get it from Linda Hobby. I've also ordered it from Wool Warehouse, but I am loving this potato chippy texture going on. There's diamonds and rows of pearls and ribbing, and I think I'm about, if I stretched it so it's out, I think I'm 6 inches or a little over 6 inches from the underarm, and I have until 9 inches to go. And then I may block it to see how much ribbing, or if 9 inches is the right amount, or if it should be shorter than that, because with the ribbing, I've never done ribbing in a body, and I want it to be the right length. I've run out of yarn, which is why it doesn't have a ball attached. I did some kind of weird math in my head and thought that 4 balls of Daisy, Drops Daisy, was going to be it. That would only be 2, I don't know. Just some crazy math that was way off. So I had to buy more. And while I was at it, I had to buy 2 more balls of this. I ordered Drops Bell, which I think is very similar to Drops, Sandiscarn Line. And I've used the Sandiscarn Tin Line, but I wanted to, while I was at it, I thought I would just add a ball of the Line to see if that's a yarn that I would like to use in a future project. Speaking of future projects, while I'm waiting for the yarn, I thought I would just play around a little bit, experiment. And this is not gonna look, you may not even recognize this based on what I did, but I wanted to try mosaic knitting. This is the tiniest little sample of mosaic knitting, but you might recognize that that kind of looks like a pressed flower bandana pattern. because I started it and I don't know what this is, like the squiggly thing. Those are the setup rows. Are they supposed to be like that? I don't know. I didn't go back and look, to tell you the truth. But I was on my way doing the little slip stitch thing, making the little flower, and I just wanted to try the motions of mosaic knitting, which is color work. And you're holding two colors, you're only using one at a time, and you're slipping stitches. And I think turns out to be like you're doing 2 rows, front and back of one color, and then front and back of the other, but you're leaving both colors attached. And I had this leftover Wool Ease DK from a hat project I made, and I just thought I'd use it and play around with it. It's not the best yarn, but it served its purpose, which was to show me like, this is what mosaic knitting is. And I now know that I do want to try a project, but probably not anything major. A hat. I'm going to start with a hat. So if you know of a mosaic knitted hat pattern that you really like, then let me know, because sometime in the future I would like to try this again. I don't think I would last in a project that was this way all the way through. I really admire someone that's making this cardigan, let me tell you, because it's a lot of work, but I really enjoyed the rhythm of it. Coming up for me, I have the Purl Soho Santolina, the teal colored. I think it's called Teal Tide, and I actually don't think they're even making that color anymore. I looked on their website recently, and I am interested in making the Aimee sheer new relaxed tee pattern. I'll put it up here. I think there's a make along that's going on or is starting. And yeah, I got really interested in this because you can either make it short sleeved or long sleeve. I think I'm making the short sleeved. It's fingering weight, but I would love to do it in Santolina because it has such texture to it. I have my swatch here because I've used this before, and but I didn't know what the gauge was. And so this is the Santolina. You'll see the little flecks of hemp, the little white things going through. This is on a size 4, which is the size of the needle in the pattern. And I did get the gauge. And it's as light as air. And I have only 600 and some yards of the teal. And you need a little more for that, I think, even for the short sleeved. So because Purl Soho was having a 25% off sale, I bought the 1 skein of the, I think it's called Red Barn colorway because the way that this pattern is designed, it could be possible to stripe it because it has distinctive sections separated by purl rows, and there is an example of this in the projects. So yeah, I thought I'd try it, experiment, and have some fun. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm going to try it. And this could be something, I'm not sure yet, but this could be something that I take on a trip in a couple weeks. We're going on a scuba diving trip to Bonaire. It's very hot there, and I thought I might take this project. It's a contender. I'm not sure if I'll take an actual garment project. Usually I just take socks with me, or a winter hat, which I don't want to take with me. So we'll see. We'll see about that. I wanted to show you my finished object. I mentioned it in my last video and on a couple other videos. It is my rain or shine blanket. It has not been blocked yet because I'm waiting for the weather to be like hotter and simultaneous sunny days so that I can put it outside and let it be in the sun during the day, and it will aid in the drying of it. But you know, it's interesting. This is a blanket that you start in the corner. This is Stephen West Rain or Shine blanket. You start in the corner, you go down, you get to the widest point, you decide the widest point, and then you decrease. I was using linen quill minis, And it turns out that the decrease part of the triangle is longer than the top. I don't care. I don't care. This is for my daughter and her husband who are getting married. And I just wanted it to be something really colorful for their house, over a chair, whatever. It's a nice lap blanket, but I will certainly take pictures once it's blocked and the ends are weaved in. And I don't want to weave in the ends until I've blocked it, because it's got the I-cord on the end, and I just want to be able to make sure everything's straight and good with it. But I have a ton of linen quill minis left over. I don't think I want to make another blanket of my own. I can't wear linen quill. I've tried. Part of this is blocked, and I've also made a swatch out of it and to try it, and I just can't wear it on my chest. It's prickly for me. So I have a set of 20 minis with a lot left over from that, and I have a set of 40 with a fair amount of the balls, of the 40 balls left over. And I have listed those on my Instagram on the grid as a D-stash, because I just don't need them anymore. And so see them there if you want to check them out. I have them all laid out, and you can see the sizes of the different little skeins. More thing. I don't know if any of you saw a maker on Instagram. Her designer name is called Weather Knits. She put out a test call on Instagram. I don't know how I saw it, but for the sardine sweater. I saw this along with a few other people, and I knew immediately, like, this is not the halibut sweater. It's not the salmon sweater, which I really like. It's lightweight. It's it's supposed to be like a summer yarn. It's made from a cotton wool yarn, the sample is, and it's a much smaller gauge in the circular part of the sweater. Right up my alley to try. And she's made it out of Retrosaria Mungo. Now, I've used Retrosaria Mondim as a sock yarn and absolutely adore that yarn, but most of their yarns are too prickly for me to actually wear. So I've ordered a skein of Retrosaria Mungo. It's a worsted weight wool and cotton. I've ordered it from the Woolly Thistle. I'm an affiliate of the Woolly Thistle, and I can't wait for it to come. I just saw a YouTuber talk about this, because she too is waiting to see whether she's been selected. Now, maybe we haven't been selected because the test is supposed to start running on April 27th, but maybe, we don't know. Neither one of us had heard as of a couple days ago. I think it is the adorable By a Thread Knits. I'm forgetting her name. So we'll see. I'd love to use it if it's possible. Otherwise, I'll find something else, but I don't even know if I'm in the test. I just became so excited. I'm not like a huge test knitter, but I guess if something hits, then it really hits. And that was really true for me. I wanted to tell you about a fairly new knitting YouTuber. Her channel name is Knits by Bex, B-E-X. I'll put it here. I'll put it in the show notes. I'm assuming her name is Becky, but she lives in London, and she's just such a really experimental, fun knitter. She just did a vlog, which are really hard things to do, knitting a test knit for James N. Watts, and that is really cool, the way that that whole thing comes together. And she did a, I think a 2-part video of going through her yarn stash, because she didn't realize it was going to be that voluminous. So that was really funny. Yeah, I just enjoy the videos she's putting out, and wanted to share her channel with all of you if you haven't discovered it yet. I think that's it for now. I will be back, I think, in a couple weeks before I leave for my trip, because I want to let you know how the Mungo turns out, let you know if I've been accepted into the test knit, give you an update on what I'm doing here. Who knows? Oh, and of course I'll be done, hopefully. I mean, yes, I will be done before I go on my trip with this lovely sweater. I'm wondering whether it's the right size. I hope that you're able to enjoy the weather wherever you are, that if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that you're feeling that you're experiencing some spring weather and enjoying doing the things outside that we can do in the springtime. I look forward to continuing the conversation in the comments as always. Thanks for joining me here. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.